Some earth walls have survived for hundreds of years with no applied finish. A good roof overhang and masonry base provide enough protection if the wall is not subject to heavy wind-driven rain and frost. But most earth buildings have an applied finish on the outside to enhance their appearance and provide additional protection against the weather. It's vital that finishes to protect earth buildings are permeable to both liquid water and water vapour. It is very important to avoid modern cement renders and synthetic paints that are less permeable and can trap moisture in the walls, weakening the earth. A diverse range of finishes were traditionally used on earth buildings in the UK, reflecting regional character and climate, building type, wealth and status of the owners, as well as changes of materials and aesthetics through time. Although rare to find these days, earth buildings in the past were often finished with a clay render or clay paint. These are made from the same materials as the earth building itself, often a finer mix of the local subsoil. Clay paints and renders are easy to make and repair, but are soft and may be damaged by impact or driving rain. Lime was sometimes added to increase the durability of clay paints and renders. Lime used in building is made by burning limestone or chalk in a kiln. It can be used to make various coatings and paints that are tougher than earth but are still permeable to liquid water. The main types of lime finish suitable for earth buildings are lime wash and lime hull and render. Lime wash is made by diluting lime with water. It can be coloured using mineral pigments. Nowadays, it is used mostly as a finish for lime render, but historically it would have been applied directly onto earth walls.
Lime wash, when it's applied, before you even get depth of colour, probably 4 or 5 coats before you start getting the white, but it does take many coats to create a crust. And some of the walls, historic walling that I've experienced, worked on or seen or surveyed, some of these crusts are 5-6 millimeters thick. Well, that doesn't sound a lot, but when you think it's like painting water as a coat, that's hundreds of years of build-up.
Also known as rough cast or scat coat, lime hull consists of a lime and aggregate slurry. It is either hand cast or sprayed on in several very thin coats to build up a textured surface. The completed hull is then lime washed to protect it.
You wet down the surface prior to it, and then you throw the lime at it, or what we do now is actually spray it on, and it just gets into all the pores, so there's no airlift, there's no gap for it to delaminate. It's imperative that you do it on the first coat to get that initial bond. We spray all of our coats on now, so that bond on every single coat is the same.
Lime render uses a mixture of lime, aggregate and fibre to achieve a thin, smooth coating. The first coat would be cast to establish a good bond with the substrate. The second coat may be troweled on to create a smooth surface, which is then finished with lime wash. Modern multi-coat render systems are inappropriate for most historic buildings. They are thicker and more uniform than the thin renders used traditionally, and can be too heavy for the weak bond between the lime and the earth substrate. Distinct regional traditions such as clay lump buildings in East Anglia that have a distinctive wood tar finish are now very rare. Local conservation specialists may be able to provide guidance on local traditions. Sadly, it's all too common to find earth buildings covered with an inappropriate modern finish such as hydraulic lime, cement or polymer-based render or modern plastic paint. These materials can trap moisture inside the wall, causing damp and rot, and make the wall cold. In severe cases, they can even lead to collapse of the wall. A large part of the work of conservation specialists involves removing and replacing them with a traditional finish. Often the damage is superficial and the walls will slowly dry out and recover their strength, but sometimes more significant repairs are required. If you think your building may have an inappropriate external finish, especially if there is cracking on the surface, you should contact a local conservation architect or surveyor or heritage contractor with expertise in earth construction and arrange for them to inspect the building and give advice.